Hi, everybody. Welcome back to Good to Game Radio. I'm your host, Tony speaking. And here we are tonight. It's a few days from Halloween, and I've got the gang all gathered here today. And we're going to get into some spooky video game discussion and whether other topics that might pop up or come up out of the grave. No. Guys, what's going on? Jaime.
Hey, dude, it's been a while. I was just listening to a recent podcast that just got published earlier in the week, and I think today we got a really interesting twist on some of the things that we're going to be talking about because we have a theme, and we all got like multiple things that we all made sure that we're all on a similar game page so we can talk about it today. So I'm looking forward to today.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Vance. That's been a couple weeks. Yeah. 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 I was on the road today. I was in northern Alabama and went to a Renaissance festival, and yeah, that was actually interesting. We'll just say very interesting. Um, that's another discussion. But on the way back, I was telling Amy about our Halloween plans for tonight, and she's like, "Wait, Vance doesn't do scary." Like, you're right, Vance doesn't do scary, but he said he was going to do scary this year, so he stepped up to the plate and it took part in the Halloween games, that we selected to play this year, and it's going to be interesting to hear his experience because we all know that Vance is, despite his rough exterior and his manly macho, just approach to things, that he is a softy and a scaredy cat. So uh-uh. Nice. Walk off. Nice. Okay. So we're gonna get a walk off tonight with a drop mic drop moment or something like that in our overview and playback of what happened in the games that we played. So, Jaime, why don't you give us some background on what we're doing with the first game that we kind of themed around for tonight?
All right, all right. Let me introduce the game, and then Vance will talk. Will take us through what we set out to do. Okay. So we all three of us. I'm gonna introduce a little. I don't know if it's a you would consider it a gym, but I'm gonna introduce the game that's called Man of Medan. This game came out originally for PlayStation 4, Windows, and Xbox One somewhere around in 2019. I particularly missed it, but then it had a second life. It came back from the dev, so to say, for PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X in 2022. So it got a second chance of life. And around sometime here is when it went on PlayStation Plus, and I downloaded it, and I must have messed up or something because I had to buy it physical to be able to play it. And this game is focused around what they called the Dark Pictures Anthology, right? This is a series of interactive drama, survival horror video games, right? Which, with what may seem like maybe some paranormal elements on it, but it's really, spoiler, you have to play it to really find out what's going on. um, which has been developed by Supermassive Games, and it was published by Bandai Namco Entertainment. The same Bandai Namco that's publishing Tekken 8, one of the greatest uh, games in the fighting game community too, is published this one. Supermassive Games did before this one a very successful gem. This one I will call a gem, which was Until Dawn. Until Dawn was quite successful. That um, after having a good run on physical and digital. It came out on PS Plus, and a lot of people got it too. Tony, I think you've shared that you've had, parties over at your place to have people come in and play Until Dawn and, see kind of what their story is. Um, so in this whole series of games that was called the Dark Pictures Anthology, Man of Medan was the very first one, and there was actually three more sequels to this. We're not going to focus on the sequels. We're just going to focus on this very first one that none of us had played. And it's one of those games kind of where you're reading one of those books that's you make your own path based on the decisions that you make. And because there's so many decisions you can make, we're going to talk about that. Each you can a player can significantly and alter their path and have different branching storylines, etc. Okay. And you can even change how your characters react to each other, because you can build trust, or you can, build animosity against somebody based on the choices that you make. So that is Man of Medan in a nutshell. And Vance, tell us kind of what the whole premise of this activity was. And that's the story. Yeah, that's the story. You can lose some people.
Right. Yeah. So, what's great about this particular game uh, is that you can really just play it in an afternoon. I think 4 hours is probably be the total time it takes to play through the game, with no interruptions. Maybe not even that long, truthfully.
Three
Um,
and a half.
3.5. Yeah. So it's a fairly quick playthrough. Your description is correct and is like those old school adventure books that you checked out of the library as a kid. Choose your own adventure, where you have branching decision points and you have to make a decision. Oh, should I do this decision A or B? And it's going to lead you to a different outcome, or the narrative is going to change based on that decision. So, being a computer game, it obviously has way more branching trees that it can do, right? I can imagine like if they did this in a book, how thick the book would need to be, because there's like a decision. So there's like little decisions that go throughout the game, right? And they typically influence like the relationship between characters. Like if you do something to make, if I were to do something to make Jaime mad, or disapproving of me, then our relationship is going to go down. Interestingly, there will actually be choices that would happen based on where we are in our relationship. So more choices will happen based, if we have a positive relationship, there'll be a different branches of decision making that's going to happen. If we have a poor relationship, those choices that would have been in the positive arena are not going to appear. Now you're going to have choices that are based on a poor relationship. Um, so yeah, it's really fascinating. I played Until Dawn. It's like literally from the same company, Supermassive Games, and it was originally on PS4. Fantastic party game when this first came out. Like Jaime said, we had people come over, and everybody would just sit on the couch, be like 10 people, and everybody would shout, you know, what we would need to do. And there's a timer on the decision. You can hear it clicking, and it's got a graph that kind of like an hourglass with the time running out. And you have to make a choice within a certain amount of time. You just can't sit there and like, oh, let me go get a drink and think about it, right? You have a few seconds to think about it. Interesting, you have two primary choices that you make, right? And it will tell you kind of like, I don't know how they based the descriptive word under each choice, um, but you don't have to actually make a choice. You could choose not to make a choice, and it would go
That's
on,
actually the third choice, Tony.
right? There's a third choice, not to
You
make a
can
choice.
always choose to not do anything, and that is the thing that will keep you from making a perfect run on this. There's things that you have to make no choices on.
Hmm. You
But
know,
okay, we'll talk about that later.
beyond
Okay.
beyond that's the main mechanic. The main mechanic is just making a decision, right? Um, there will be opportunities as you go, usually in tense situations. Some action is happening where you have to make quick time decisions, right? And there's an old school game mechanic, but it's used heavily in this. So it's like, oh, press X at this moment and press circle at this moment. Obviously you have to know your controller fairly well uh, to figure out you save you some time. But you're talking a couple of seconds maybe to make a choice in that
No,
regard.
no, there's some sequences where you're trying to hold your breath hiding from somebody.
That's more of
And
a rhythm based quick
and
time
exactly,
event,
it's not just pressing the button, it's also the rhythm at which you're like
right?
trying not to breathe, not make a sound. And
Right.
I was like, what?
Yeah. And based on like the difficulty level you have the game set to, they could these are shorter periods of time that do react to these things. Um, but so anyway, that's how the game is set up. The object, there's five main characters in this game, right? That you're introduced to. And the object is to get through the game and bring everybody home alive, right? So you are basically responsible for their survival. And there is another character that's kind of like, I don't know what it's not a narrator, it's kind of like a, I don't know, an observer. And he's going to, there's like periods of time where it's basically acts. When the act ends, he'll show up, or you'll appear in his library or whatever, and he'll like, oh, you've kept everybody alive so far. Let's see what comes next, something like that. He's kind of a creepy dude, but it's interesting that the interaction. He's just like this objective observer, and he's going to opine on how well you're doing or how bad you're doing, or he might give you initially help you out in some way or fashion. Now, another mechanic that's happening in this game is there are pictures that are scattered throughout that you randomly find. Now, these things are they give you a glimpse into the future, right? So they're pictures of ships that you find hanging on a wall. When you look at the picture, uh, it will show you like a 2-second glimpse of something in the future. Now, on your initial playthrough, you're not going to know what this is, uh, or if you're choosing a different decision tree, if you've played it before, you may not know what it might be something totally different. But yeah, so it's a glimpse, but you have to kind of piece it together. It's really overall a mystery uh, with a horror shell around it. So we're trying to solve the a mystery and get everybody out alive. So that's the object of this game. So uh, the game starts out, and I'll give us a before we get into each other's decision or playthrough. Typically, the first 10 minutes is the same for everybody, more than likely, right? Because that's the introduction to the story. So I'll set the stage. It is 19, I think it's 1947, post World War II, uh, China, and You have a U.S. Navy ship that's being loaded with, cargo. It's dead of night, uh, and the ship leaves port, uh, encounters a storm, and then some crazy stuff are happening on the ship. With you're introduced to a couple of soldiers on, and you see through their eyes, and you control them for a little bit. And there's just crazy stuff going on in the ship, and then the ship is basically lost at sea, right? And then we go into the main story, where you're introduced to our main characters, and they're going to go in search of a shipwreck, and then from there it goes on to they end up on the ship. So who wants to go first with their playthrough?
I'll go. I'll go first. I'll go first. Okay. So look, I'm gonna just start this and say I did not make it with all characters out. All right. Just gonna say that. I think out of the five characters, I lost three, and it was like
Woo-hoo-hoo!
I lost three characters, and 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 it's so frustrating because when you lose a character, the decision that makes you lose the question that you have to answer is never like quite apparent that, oh, this is a bad choice, don't pick this.
Okay,
Okay.
before you reveal which characters you lost and how you lost them, just a heads up to everybody. This this game will probably have. I mean, our discussion of this is going to have spoilers in it, right? So, I mean, we'll try not to reveal the overall mystery of things, like what the ultimate cause of that. So, no, let's not reveal like the ultimate reason why
Yeah.
things are happening.
Yeah.
But, um, so we'll let you guys figure that out for yourself if you want to play the game. But so there will be some obviously some spoilers. So go ahead.
Yeah. All right. So the first the first guy I lost was Iceman. Now, okay, so because they're using like real actors to do like the motion capture for this game, there's one character in it that I kept on seeing him. I was like, I've seen this cat somewhere. He was the guy that played Iceman on the first trilogy of the X-Men movies.
Okay.
Before Deadpool and Wolverine merged everything, and what did whatever they did. And I was like so upset. He was the first character that I lost, and this is
So
like
you're talking
uh,
about Conrad.
Conrad, and this is like you're pretty advanced in the game by the time that this happened, because I was at that point where he's being chased down by something, and I made it all the way to this point where I was faced with two questions: either jump off this ledge to certain doom, or fight this entity that's been chasing you. And I'm thinking, okay, no option is really good, really, at this point. So I said, okay, if I fight this thing, I'm dead. Maybe if I jump off, maybe there's gonna be a cinematic. He's gonna grab onto a ledge or something and survive, but he does not. I mean, in the face of that scenario, if that were me in real life, I ain't fighting no entity, man. um,
Right? All right.
so
So Conrad. Now
Conrad,
interesting that Conrad you mentioned Conrad because there's a decision point earlier in the game that involves Conrad. It's really one of the main like first couple of main decision branches, where your character's put life is literally hanging in the balance. And it's interesting that you actually obviously chose the path that would lead you to where you're talking about. So
yeah,
we'll get back into that
yeah.
once we hear
And
Francis'
and actually,
side of
honestly,
things.
I'm just gonna say this. I was really upset to lose Conrad, because this whole time I was thinking like Conrad's got to be a double agent. He's got to be like the bad guy in this, because the narrator, he actually kept on saying like, nothing is what it seems. There might be some people who are like not good, and
So
he has like,
once go ahead. I'm sorry.
he has like this inner monologue at one point where he's like having this narration, like he's talking to somebody as if like, "Hey, you took it too far. You know, you punched me in the face. That's not what you were supposed to do." And I was thinking like, "Yo, this guy's a bad dude."
Right, because he thought that it was all like a birthday scam, right? Like
I I
that
don't know. I
oh
will never
man,
figure it out.
this is a serious party trick you guys are pulling, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Anyway, so I lost Conrad, right? So second is I lost Fliss, the ship captain.
The love of Conrad.
Yeah, well, the romantic interest, let's say that.
Mhm.
And 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 I and based on the choices that I made throughout the game, I get to a point where you're like at gunpoint by one of the bad guys, and you're trying to like talk him through to like basically not shoot you. I failed. And by the way, this guy's name's Junior. Was it just me, or did Junior look like he had like a bullet hole in his head all the time? Because he had like blood or something that was
Mhm.
covered up by a bandana. And I was always thinking, like, what is up with this character or the model for this guy? Anyway, Fliss, that was my second one to kick the bucket. Third one was Conrad's sister. And you know why this was so upsetting? Because it again, it was a point where it was like, choose to fight this entity or do nothing. I'm fighting the entity. Bam bam. Well, shame on me.
I know what point you're talking about. Uh-huh.
Yeah,
Yeah, I know where where that happened at.
yeah. So out of the five characters, I got the two brothers out alive. And one of them was like pretty upset that his, future fiance is gone. And I'm not gonna give out much more things, but he's sad.
He
Like
should be.
life life changing sad. And and I
He
found
probably
out as
doesn't
much as I
survive
could.
that. He probably doesn't survive that.
All right, that was my playthrough. Okay, out of the five characters, the two brothers made it out alive.
So the two brothers made it. Okay, so the victims of Jaime's
Poor
leadership,
choices.
poor choices, were Julia, Fliss, and Conrad.
Iceman.
All right, Vance. Let's hear what you get. What was your success rate?
M- My man.
Okay.
Exactly, right? I know. Dude, okay, so you lost them early in the game, man. I know.
So Fliss. So Fliss. so Fliss dies at the point.
where
Who was it?
my
That Julia died
in my
for
playthrough.
Jaime's.
Yes.
Yes.
I know exactly the point. Yeah. But again, that's one of those things in the game though that I was saying you have choice A or choice B, and you always forget that you have the choice of do nothing. And that's one of those points where you have to do nothing for this to be a happy ending. We have not talked about this before. Okay, I just said like I'm gonna let this other guy live. So I was like, this is what I would do in real life. That was my whole mentality. What would I do in real life through this playthrough? And at one point, I decided to show mercy to one of the bad guys, and I'm glad I did.
So you guys bring up an interesting point, and
Yeah.
like we as video game players, whatever, we're used to make a decision, make an action, effect happens immediately, usually, right? And in this game, the consequences for decisions don't always appear immediately. It could literally be at the end of the game where the consequence that you made early in the game for a decision, right? Like, and that in my playthrough happened. Early game decision consequence didn't appear until the credits were rolling, basically.
Oh! I know what you're talking about. Is this like the decompression and beer choice?
Not for me, it wasn't.
Okay.
That would have been for, I think, Vance.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Sorry. Go
So,
ahead.
yeah. So, yeah, a lot of times you don't even know the effects, like, until way later, which, kind of sucks because I don't count. Vance, are you done with your scorecard?
No, no, no. I think we still have to understand. We still have to know how one more character kicks the bucket.
Okay. So, who was your other character, Vance, that died?
Yeah. If you don't if you yeah, and this is one of those like late in the game things that you realize. Uh,
Yeah.
okay.
So, okay. For me. So, wait, let's go back and review.
All right. All right. How many did yours? Okay. Yeah. Let's review.
So, Vance, you lost three. Jaime, you lost three,
We lost the same ones.
right? I lost one, right? And it was at the very end of the game. After everybody had escaped, there was a consequence. And it was Conrad. And it was,
Iceman.
yeah, Conrad died at the very end of my playthrough. And he wasn't even on the ship for the entirety of the game.
Right.
At the point that he died in Vance's playthrough, he survived in mine. I guess I was just better at the dodging of bullets. Um, and so, thus, He escaped. Uh, However, after everybody escaped off the main vessel and the credits are rolling, this turkey shows back up and then
Wait. Is
proceeds.
I don't know what happened in your playthrough, but in my playthrough at the end when the credits are rolling, there's like the military shows up,
Hmm.
and that's how they get the brothers out. I no, actually the brothers get off the boat. Sorry.
Your brothers got off on the boat, right?
Yeah, that's right.
Right.
Yeah, yeah,
The military shows up in a helicopter, right?
right.
Hmm. In my playthrough, when the helicopter lands on the ship, Conrad gets off. No, he doesn't even get off the helicopter. The helicopter doesn't. The helicopter didn't show up in my game. The Coast Guard showed up in a boat.
Oh
And
no, man!
Conrad Conrad got off the boat and went onto the ship after everybody had already left.
Mm.
And the very last scene of the game is him succumbing to the evils of the ship.
no.
Yes.
That's crazy.
It's like why come back?
he he was looking for his friends and his sister.
I'm
So,
kind of upset at this point.
but I got it. While on the ship, with everybody involved on the ship, I managed to get everybody through safely and escape. So, um, overall, I had a great time with the game. Right? I was like, oh man, I should have played this earlier.
I agree. It was one of those games that I completely missed out when it came out. Completely missed out because I was like, I don't know about this. It's a short game, and the magic is if you're one of those players that will go for the multiple runs and find all the different branching paths. Um, or like just these conversations. We all had three different playthroughs. Vance and I actually came up with the same characters at the end, but we had different stories because of kind of where our characters were, lost along the way.
Right now, uh, yeah, that's the crazy thing is how different the story kind of turns out, right? So it's like obviously there are some like hard. These things have to happen during the story, right? As the story is being told. But then within this boundary that they've set, anything could happen. Like I think you said, um, Julia and her fiance. No, Alex. Alex's fiance, right? So, Vance, did you have a fiance, a character in your game?
Yes, because yeah, because I end up getting the ring back.
Okay.
Yeah.
So in my game, there was a fiance too. Uh, However, I went back and played the last couple of days a second time, and I got
Oh, you went for
halfway
the
through.
second playthrough.
I went through the second playthrough, uh, and you can actually make it where they're not fiance. She's not fiance. So, and it totally changes their relationship, right? So it's like how they kind of see each other and talk to each other changes. Even the subtleties of it. It's like it's crazy. And I love how the game, and I'm not going to really reveal what the ultimate cause was, but the game is actually playing mind games with us as the
It
player.
is. Yeah.
Seriously, mind. It plays. It's
Right.
that's the whole point of the game. It plays mind games with you because it's planting seeds that you will either act upon based on your understanding of what's going on or not.
I would argue that the portraits that you find along the way um actually do some of what you just said because the portraits will show you a glimpse of an option that can come up in the near future. So anytime I saw a glimpse of a character dying, I was like, do whatever you can. Like be on your, be on the lookout for something,
Right.
right? And
Right.
actually the glimpse actually give you hints of where this event could happen. Because
Yeah,
I
but you don't know what it means. Like you
well,
don't
there
know.
was let's just say this. I saw one where the guy with glasses, I think his name's Brad, he's shown as, being found out by one of the bad guys when he's hiding. And then like later on I have this choice of like, hey, we don't know where Brad is. Then the choice is, do you call out for Brad or do you not do anything? I was like, I ain't calling out his name. He's gonna die if I do. Right.
See,
Right.
now there was another picture involving Brad, um, that did dictate my choice because you remember at the beginning when they have like the rebreather, and then I find the rebreather later on. Well, one of the pictures was like something going to happen to him, like in the water. I'm not going to say specifics. So I chose not to take the rebreather because I'm like, I'm not going in the water with Brad because a picture on the
Right,
wall
right, right.
showed Brad getting jacked up. So we gonna walk. So we gonna go back through the boat like we, you know, because it's like, hey, you can take the shortcut with the rebreather. I'm like, nah.
Right. So to Tony's point, the game does plant seeds so that it's like, are you really sure you want to do this? Right. I felt at times I felt like having those glimpses really altered what my natural choice would have been.
How did you feel about? And I'm assuming you guys figured out what was causing everything. What the root of everything was. How
Well,
did you feel?
maybe,
Maybe, well, you didn't. Okay, okay.
maybe.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, how did you feel at the end of the game? How what was your feelings after the end about how it played out for you,
It
Vance?
was a
Oh, go ahead,
complete.
Amy.
Oh, sorry, Vance, go ahead, go ahead.
um. So I felt like, I felt like, man, I could have saved everybody. I kind of felt a little bad about that, but then it was like, look, I made the best decisions I could with what was presented to me. Like you said, there were things that were shown previously to me, and then it's like, okay, all right, so I'm not gonna do that. I need to do this, but then it's like, like Jaime said, sometimes if you would have did nothing, you'd have been okay. So I definitely like the game. I definitely like the, how like pretty much is like you are the master of your in, but like you said, it's all about, to me it was attention to detail was how I was able to save the older brother. Because I'm like, man, because the dude, I took him out because I'm like, well, this isn't the brother, because um, I don't want to spoil it for nobody, but I was like, okay, well, that's different on him, so I'm gonna take this guy out, because I don't want him to come back later. Because I mean, I already got, like you said, the entity already got the bad guys looking for me. I don't want to have him looking for me too, so I'm gonna take him out. Well, yeah, but I enjoyed it. Like I'm like, man, I might need to play the other ones. But yeah, I definitely enjoyed it.
Yeah. Go ahead, Jaime.
I was just gonna ask everyone here, moment of truth, complete honesty. Did y'all have any good jump scares?
There was one. I don't remember exactly what the moment was. Now it's been a couple weeks, but I did have a good scare. But I can't remember what the moment was
I
at
I
this
I
point.
had one that I really well. First, truth be told, when I first started playing this game, there was many times where I'm like, "Oh, here's a cutscene. Let me grab my phone and start texting or something." My one of my biggest jump scares was realizing there was a quick time event coming and me dropping my phone and being like, "Oh, press X or something." Um, but early in the game, and this is really not a spoiler because everyone's gonna have to go through this. At some point, when the two soldiers that Tony talked about in the beginning, they're in the boat and something weird is up. Uh, there's this one scene where this little kid is running around and kind of hunting them. Holy smokes, that kid just there was one moment that he freaked me out because he would just like run through the screen like in front of the screen, like your character's like way in the back, and then like this thing just runs across, and I was like, what? And
Yeah.
yeah,
And there
I
were
jumped.
moments too in the game where it's like there would be an appearance of something in the corner in the
Yeah,
background,
there was
right?
like
And
several like
you would
this
pass it and
man
then
was
you're like,
yeah
wait, what was that? You turn
yeah,
around and be gone, but it's
and then
like,
you'd come back and it wasn't there anymore. I was like, did I really see that? It
but
actually I
sometimes,
had
yeah, yeah. And knowing, knowing the what happens to cause everything, uh, going back through the replay that I did, it's fascinating to watch how that works, knowing how it works. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, like you would have a character that would encounter something, and then it would startly have it, the
it would
effects
scare the
would start
player on
happening.
the controller, not the character in the game.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
cause did y'all cause Jaime well, did y'all get the gas mask?
Yeah, and
I
that's
did
another
not get a
gripe I
gas
have.
mask.
Okay,
I
so
did. And
yeah, that was one of the
there's a
jump
little bit of a
scares.
jump
Yeah,
scare.
that was one
Yeah.
of the jump scares for me because like when you open it up, like the head falls, and then it's like you have to. So I was like I don't know what made me reopen it, but I did, and there was a gas mask,
And
and I
there's
was
a
like,
gas mask.
oh, I was like, okay. But the other jump scare I had was earlier when they were in the plane swimming, and then like she's going through the tunnel, and I think it's like a
The
squid or
fish.
octopus like pops out.
Yeah. Yeah. It scared me too. And I was like, come on, that's
Yeah, I
just a
was like,
fish,
right,
man.
just right. Like it's just a fish. But yeah. Oh yeah, it was a good game.
Yeah.
It
Okay.
was it's a better experience than I thought I was gonna have.
All right, but we're not done. Surprise,
No, we're not.
surprise. We're not done with it. Hold on. I have a surprise for you guys. All right. So, in honor of the game, I've put together a little trivia for you guys. You guys can work together in this. It's 10 questions. If
Ten
you get,
questions.
If one of us might not come out of this, is what you're gonna
right,
say.
right. Uh, so you can alternate back and forth about who answers the question. If you get it wrong, you're done.
All right, I'm just say
Right?
the first nine.
All right. 10 questions. All right. Hold on. See. Can we got any sound effects for this? Oh,
Yeah.
Call my
Okay.
lifeline.
all right. Get ready. All right. Question number one. What was the name of the yacht that they started their expedition on? The five characters. The name of the yacht.
Man of Milan.
Do you agree with that, Vance?
Hey, I'm gonna go with it. I'm gonna go with it. Why not? I'm gonna go with it.
Mm. I'm going to give you this one, right?
What? What?
It's Duke of Milan.
Oh,
Duke
Ooh,
of
dude.
Milan.
Duke. Duke.
All right, so you're wounded, right? You got you got a wound,
Okay.
right?
I'm limping. I can still go.
I got you. I'm carrying you. I
All
got
right,
you.
all right. Ready for question two? How's your arm there, Jaime? You jumped in so quick. All
I can still throw a couple punches with my other arm, dude.
right,
Man, I should have played this last night.
question number two. Name all the main characters.
Okay, we'll go with Alex, Rob, Julian. No.
Brad.
Brad, Conrad, Felice, and Julia. I said Julia.
And it's not Felice, it's
All right,
Fliss.
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 Bliss.
all right.
Now, if you're gonna throw out curveball and say Olson Jr. and the other random dude, come on, that's cheating.
Audience, did they get it right? Yeah, we got it right. Now, there was a save there at the last second because Rob's name was kind of hanging in the air for a second. There was no Rob.
There was no Rob. There was no Rob. I
No,
don't know
no,
where I got
Brad.
Rob from.
We got robbed, man.
All right. Question number 3. How much money did Conrad initially offer to pay the fishermen for their damaged boat?
Vance, I think it was $10. 10 or $20 for sure.
Hmm. There's a number that jumped out at me, but that's too high. Let's go with 30. Let's put them together. Let's go 30.
Now, the initial offer, not the final offer, the initial
The
offer.
final offer, he just threw all the money in the water.
Initial, I want to say 300. But I feel like that's too high, but that's the number that jumps out at me.
Jaime?
I'm already limping here, man. I'm gonna give, defer to my main man Vance right here.
Okay.
I knew it.
Vance, you're dead.
It happens.
You should have went
Much
with
harder.
Jaime. $10.
It was
$10.
$10. Because it was something so ridiculously low. I was like, man, that doesn't even cover the band-aids.
Right.
Okay. Jaime, I guess you're on your own.
Yo, hi. I'm here for cheers.
All right.
All right. The coordinates that they had on their little mini map that they were
Oh,
in
dude,
search
I'm
of.
dead.
Coordinates.
Coordinates, bro.
What did they point to? What was the 2 words that they were pointing to? What was the name that was written on there?
Bermuda and Triangle? I don't know.
From the grave. Vance, do you want to help them?
I ain't got nothing. Cold.
I had this
cake,
is this
something.
this is hardcore, man.
Okay. You just want to make a guess?
Cave of no
Let me give you one word, okay? I'll give you a hint since
Okay.
this is might catch you off guard. The first word is Manchurian.
Oh, second word, gold.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Giving you some lifelines here.
Still limping here. Still limping.
All right. All right. What was Ooh, you mind Okay. What was Julia's nickname for Conrad?
I want to say Connie.
Way to step up.
All right.
Yeah. I almost dropped
All
my
right.
mic right now, honestly.
All right. What was the name of the fisherman? The Asian fisherman.
Rob.
See,
No.
no. That's why I said earlier, Olson Jr. and I said the other guy. I cannot remember his name for the life of me. I even said it earlier. The other dude. I don't know.
It starts with a D. I'll give you that.
I don't know, man. Honestly,
Vance?
you knew I was not gonna get that one.
Donnie. I don't
David,
know.
maybe.
What did you say?
David?
Danny? Did you say Danny Vance?
Yeah.
Yeah. From the dead.
I was a vow over.
All right. According to Danny, what happens to a person when they die on a ship
Their soul is tethered to the ship.
and they become what?
They become part of the ship, one with the ship.
I'm going
A
Jaime.
ghost?
Yeah,
Going Jaime. Good
that's why he was like so freaked out when his
answer.
untimely demise was
Okay.
reached.
Final question.
Final question.
Final question.
Rob.
Get this, you get off the
Rob.
ship.
Hey, we off the ship behind me. Let's go.
Right.
Let's see, man. Let's see.
What is the name of the ship?
The big ship.
The big ship. What is the
Uh,
name of the big ship?
it had like orangutan. The orang Medan. I don't know, Vance.
USS Aragadan.
I, I, the USS get me off this ship as soon as you can.
Right.
All right.
All right.
I guess you're not going to make it off the ship. Oh,
Oh.
maybe. Tell you what, you got part of the name right. So you got wounded earlier in the arm.
Yeah. Good job.
Yeah, you lose the arm. Okay?
Okay.
The name of the ship is the NG Medan.
Medan had to be able to tell
What's
us.
the name of the game?
Man Medan.
Yeah.
I thought.
Man to Medan.
All
Man
right,
Medan.
Jaime got off with his arm, with the one arm.
I still live, man. I still live.
He came up too fast.
He
He
took-
came
he
up too
took-
fast.
He had a lot of help
He
from the
came-
afterlife.
That's a
but-
reference, man. He came up too
He
fast.
came up too fast.
And had a beer
Had a
afterward.
beer.
All right, so
Okay.
that wraps up our discussion on Man of Medan. Guys, check it out. It's a fun game. Like I said, it's only 3.5, 4 hours long. Knock it out in one sitting. Um,
And let us know
So-
what your playthrough
and
was
it's
like.
on PS Plus. If you're a PlayStation, it's on PS Plus. Um, be sure you don't download the trial version, the full game version.
Right.
But
all
that's
right.
not the only game we're going to talk about today that has jump
That's
scares
not
in it.
not the only
No.
one.
We're
Our
actually just
second
going to.
game,
Yeah, there is a second game
and quite the accomplishments that
that Vance is playing.
Vance got himself to get on board this ship.
I think I got to chapter 7, 8.
Speaking
something
of
like that.
ships,
Right, Dead Space, the remake. So this game's been out for a couple years. Actually, had
Couple?
not. Well, the original game has been out for
Okay.
a decade plus, but uh, the remake came out like in 2022. I'm thinking
I want to say
2021.
2023, man.
Was it last year?
Yeah.
I feel like it's been out there longer than that. But anyway, they did a remake. Um, Game looks fantastic. It's Dead Space, the remake. And Jaime, I know you had played this a while
I
back,
sure did. Uh huh.
and then as soon as I was done with Man of Medan, Vance said, "I'm playing Dead Space," which was a challenge to me. I'm like, if Vance is going to play Dead Space, I'm going to play Dead Space. So I
And then
jumped on
guess
there
what?
too.
I say I'm gonna play Dead Space too.
Yeah. So, but Vance is the newbie to the game. Let's hear what Vance has to say about his experience about Dead Space.
So, Dead Space, no knowledge of it whatsoever. I just hop right into it, and there were things that I liked about it as far as like the story that they're going in. I definitely like the story. Um, man, like some things is like like you can see it happen. I'm just like, here we go. Like, so backstory. I'm not good with games that you have to build like your armor or weaponry along the way. So like
RPG style games,
yes. So like
role playing,
yes
or action games. A lot of action games do that now too. So
because what's that with The one that just had that, they had a DLC release recently, Diablo. So for the
Yeah,
longest time, with the Diablo, I wasn't putting my, I guess, points on
skill
different
points.
things. Yeah, because I didn't want to mess it up. So that's how I was with the nose. I was holding on to my nose. I'm like, okay, like, do I want to waste all my nose on my first weapon because it's my baby? I'm gonna keep it, or do I want to, all the new weapons I'm picking up? Do I want to upgrade that? So, like, that was a challenge, but then I kind of figured it out. I started, experimenting with some weapons. Like, okay, well, this works. All right, that works. All right. So, but yeah, I definitely like the story so far. So far, like I said, I got to chapter like 7, 8. So having fun, having fun. I do, I
Ooh.
do, I do plan on completing it. There you go.
It's 12 chapters in the game, so you're pretty close. Um, yeah, you're getting there. Uh, Jaime, what was your opinion on the game?
All right. So I've already, talked about this in the past that I felt it was an amazing game. But I started since I knew that you both were playing it. I started the new game,
New game
new game
plus?
plus. Yeah. And there's actually an alternate ending that you can unlock that only in the new game plus. And there's like some additional activities that you have to do to be able to do this. And I thought that was pretty cool because that actually keeps it fresh. You're not just doing the same exact thing. I thought that this game was a blast, honestly. But I will say this: even having played it and going back to like the early chapters, I still got freaked out by a couple things that happened here and there. And Dead Space builds this really, really good atmosphere of just being in a really cramped up space where it's like the original Alien movie. Like they're like in ducks, like very narrow spaces where if you get pinned down, you're a goner, man. So I the reason why we all started playing this is because it was on PlayStation Plus this past month. So we said, hey, we're playing Man and Medan. Let's play something else with some jump scares. I highly recommend this game. I'm actually very interested to hear your experiences now because I played this game when it first released last year. Uh, so I kind of know what's coming. And I would know that Vance, you're halfway there. You're just getting to the good stuff, man. Honestly, whenever you get to like chapters 10, 11, and beyond, it changes. There's some new enemy types that are going to be coming at you. It mixes up the formula.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
Cody,
anyway,
Oh,
what chapter are you in?
oh, no, yeah. Go ahead.
one
Go ahead.
chapter. I'm done with the game.
Oh, you did complete it. Okay, okay.
Yeah, I finished it. Um, I loved it. Right, I love the original game. Uh, but the remake is a beautiful game. The I mean, it's fantastic how it looks. It plays pretty smooth. I mean, it's still, your guy is not a sprinter or anything. He's like, trudging through these hallways of this ship, this not abandoned ship, but this ship, the um,
Ishimura.
Ishimura, um, planet cracker ship, and everybody's dead basically. There's some survivors here and there that he runs into. Um, but yeah, I mean, I love like I feel like there was more emphasis in the remake with zero gravity areas. Maybe I'm
Yeah.
just imagining it,
No, no, no.
but there
You're right
seems like there's
because
more of that. Uh,
and the way how they introduced the zero gravity thing in the very first game sucked. They really fixed it in Dead Space 2, and they brought that element from Dead Space 2 into the remake. They said, "Let's do it right from the first remake."
yeah, because you jump off whatever you're standing on, and you're just free floating, and you can maneuver with your little jump packs or whatever is built into your suit. Um, and then just like you can literally flip upside down, and everything is getting disoriented and whatever. But there has a way. It does have a way of like reorienting yourself easily. But I love those elements. I love the sound. Like when you go into the vacuum of space, the sound is muted, right? It's like it just would probably be how it sounds if there was sound, right? So just the attention to detail to you know that sort of stuff, the how the ship itself felt, all the audio files and text files that you can find, that really uh, pieces the story about what happened on board the ship. You're
Well,
starting to kind of put that mystery together.
but not only that, it makes the ship feel like it was brimming with like people working there. There's like people who are like, "Hey, this is the guy that was fixing the engine. Here's this random guy. Here's this doctor's note." It makes it feel like it was this really well staffed vessel, and they're all gone.
Yeah, and the game itself is not. Maybe it's probably based on difficulty level. But it was not too stingy with like ammo drops and stuff like that. You can always either buy what you need or
I
uh,
ran out.
find or switch
You ran
weapons.
out.
Uh,
I ran away.
yeah, and the weapons all feel great, right? So it's
Yeah.
like no matter what weapon you're using. Though I did feel like the flamethrower was a little underpowered. Um, but any of the other, I mean, a lot of the other weapons were great. Like the beam weapon, that just tore through things. Go ahead.
Tony, the reason why the flamethrower is there is you got to know your enemy types. You
Yeah,
know,
you use it on the guys on the wall and the little
the guy
dudes that are on the ground.
the guy no, 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 not the guys that are on the ground. The pregnant kind of looking guys that actually when you kill them they pop and they release these little guys.
Yeah.
That's who you use it on, because if you do that, he doesn't pop.
Oh well, I would shoot him at a distance, and then
Right. Yeah.
the little
Yeah.
dudes would come at
Hey.
me, and I would just burn
Hey.
them.
Yeah. So to speak to the sound, like profiles and tiles and stuff, like it's funny because like at the beginning, like where you see like the little fans in the wall, like they bust out, and either like something's running by it or something is like going in or whatever like that. But it's like you can track the sound pretty good, like so I'm looking at the wall like I know you about to come out somewhere, but and I definitely like if you got like how they put the sound where it's supposed to be at. So if I'm in the room right now,
Yeah,
if it's
you can
kind of
hear them in
behind,
the air vents.
yeah, you can hear
and
'em, pretty
and
good.
and depending on which headset you're using, like I use like the PlayStation branded one,
Yeah,
you can literally hear something go like literally like from the back of your head to like
right.
somewhere in front of you,
Yeah,
and you're like that's in the vent. It
yeah,
makes you like really be immersed in that setting.
right, right. And yeah, cause what was that one you had to fight and you had to freeze them? Well, you had to put them in the cryo thing or whatever like that. Like
Oh,
that
the
was
hunter.
The hunter.
yeah, that took me a little while to figure out because I'm hitting them with everything. I'm hitting them with that's why I ran out of ammo. I'm hitting with the flamethrower. I'm hitting with the beam. I'm hitting with the plasma. I'm hitting with everything. I said, oh, because I was running by and like, oh, okay, all right, I got it. Hey man, yeah, come get transported, but yeah, yeah, yeah. I definitely had a fun time, But man, with that game there, boy, I'm like, yeah, I can't wait to finish it because like they got me with the whole, with one I think it's like playing audio. You got to go find a girl that you're actually looking for, and I'm like,
Well, that's the whole plot of the game. You got to go find Nicole.
right, but it's like when you go, well, as you're going, it like kind of like locks you in the tram little lobby, and that's when like the doctor's kind of like first talking to you, whatever like that. And I was like, I know she's not in there. Like I know this is some plot to get me in here, but you know what? I'm ready. I'm ready. Oh, and I finally figured out like because I was asking Tony, I said, man, I got all these credits, like I don't know what to do with it, but I finally bought me a suit that held all my stuff. I said, okay, I'm ready now. I'm ready.
Yeah, enhance your suits. Upgrade nodes, get your weapons, make them more powerful. Question, because this is always one of the toughest trophies to get in this game. Did you guys find Peng?
I did.
You did. Okay.
I found him.
You said find who?
I was like, "What
Okay.
is this?" I actually took a I actually took a screenshot of it because it seems so out of place.
Right. They always
Wait,
hide
you're not there yet.
this
Oh, it's hit.
trophy
It's hit
that's
randomly.
really no. I mean, no, it's not random. But there's always this trophy in every single Dead Space where you have to find Peng. And throughout the whole game, you actually, if you pay attention, there's going to be posters and stuff on the walls that mention Peng, Peng, Peng.
Mm-hmm.
Once you find him, I mean, Vance, the spoiler is you get to sell it for like a
Thirty
ton of
thousand.
cash.
30,000 credits.
But the thing is that it's really difficult to find in every single Dead Space. There's always a Peng.
Yeah, I found it.
And
So I
it's a
was
Peng
looking
in
at
the butt to
everything.
find.
Yeah, I was looking at every time I saw someplace you could scrounge around for more ammo or credits. I was looking.
Yeah, good.
So.
All right. So, okay, so we're talking about Dead Space, the Dead Space remake, which is very action focused, a lot of jump scares. Let's shift the conversation to our last topic of the day, where it's a very newer release, newer than Dead Space 2, that actually Vance confirmed it did release in 2023, January of 2023, actually. Um, and now let's shift the focus to the game that everyone is raving about. And this is Silent Hill 2, the remake. Honestly, the only person that has played the remake out of this trio has been Tony. I myself, if you're actually watching the stream, played the original Silent Hill 2 that I have here in my hand. It's worth 220 bucks off Amazon today.
Oh wow.
And Tony, this game right here has something that your game will never ever have. And you know what that is, my good friend? You know what that is? See this instruction manual. You don't have that.
Instruction manual.
An instruction manual.
Yeah,
If
that's
you open
true. I
that,
don't have an instruction manual. I mean,
take
Hey,
that.
so
Inferior game.
so what's funny
I mean,
is
do you really need an instruction manual?
You do.
right. Yeah, so what's really funny about that is so in honor of our, you know, what you want to call it, our theme tonight, I looked up you know, best horror game ever. Uh Top one and through one, two, and three is either Silent Hill or a game called PT, which was supposed to be a branch off Silent Hill, but I don't know.
That
It,
Uh,
game
it
is
it's
not even available anymore.
it
right, I
doesn't
was gonna say yeah,
exist
yeah,
anymore.
it doesn't exist anymore.
Playable I think it was called playable trailer or playable teaser.
Mm, yeah. It's supposed to
It
be a
was
branch.
directed by Guillermo del Toro and it starred Norman Reedus.
Mm,
And
And
it
it
was
was a
like a free
hallway.
game. Yeah.
It
yeah.
was a hallway
And by
because
the
I
way,
have that game.
Vance, which one was the most scariest game? Was it Silent Hill 2 or Silent Hill 1?
I believe it was Silent Hill, the first one, but two.
This one right here that I'm
Yeah.
holding in my hand.
Look at that. Look
Uh-huh.
at
And it also has an instruction manual.
that.
Not like Tony's inferior copy.
Yeah, inferior.
You know
Anyway,
why it
Tony,
doesn't
walk
have an
us through.
instruction manual? Because it's
Yeah.
intuitive.
Ooh.
For somebody
Anybody can
that's
play this.
no. Somebody who's been gaming for 20 plus years is like, oh yeah, this is normal.
Hey, now we have TikTok and YouTube for the instruction manual. You know.
Yeah. So Tony, tell us about your journey into the nice place and town of
So,
Silent Hill.
right. So I've never played like a mainline Silent Hill game, right? I've played like offshoot stuff, right? So like that free
Boo.
game that we got. What was the game we just played a few months ago? That was
Silent Hill, the narrative, the
something.
hallway, the
It was about the suicide
yeah, the
girl.
cherry blossom. Yeah.
Yeah. I play games like that, right? That somehow associated to Silent Hill. Don't know how, but they say they are. Anyway, so Silent Hill 2 is really my first introduction to the franchise, um, the main franchise. And I was didn't know what to expect. You know, I'm like, okay, Don't know what the gameplay was going to be like. Uh, Figured it was a narrative game for sure. Um, and it is heavily uh got a heavy narrative and some you know like almost what do you call it action wise, like you can shoot a gun, uh so you have a pistol that you can get and a shotgun,
But the
and
thing that,
but
that
it's
I'll
not like
agree with you,
it's not
it's it,
super easy to use.
it's not an action game. That's the thing.
Right.
It's like you can't compare this apples to like a Resident Evil 4 remake or to a Dead Space remake because it's not the same
Hmm.
type of game.
Right. So I played Resident Evil 4 remake, and you're correct. It's definitely that is an action game for sure. This plays totally different. This is more of a puzzle solver, really, which I was actually pleasantly surprised um, by how that worked. This really brought me back to like old school type of games where you
Where they
had
had
to,
manuals in them.
yeah, so you had to go and like they would give you a puzzle in order to advance the story because usually each section of the story is blocked off by a locked door, we'll say, that requires a key. But it's more than just going and finding the key, right? You have to piece it together of how to go find a key. So it's a puzzle. And usually each main area of the town, whatever, is blocked off that way. And it's super satisfying going and just kind of like trying to piece together. I did not use YouTube, did not use any guides or anything like that. Just used my own uh, thought processes to work my way through. They're not super difficult, but challenging still. Uh, and it's super satisfying to solve those puzzles and make it to the next area and see the narrative piece as it plays out. And that's like what drives you, right? Because you want to see it gives you these little uh, cut screens, not little. Typically, actually, they're fairly long. About what's going on, really. It's not really about what's going on in the town. It's about you're introduced to characters. You meet characters as the main character, James Sutherland or Sunderland. You're playing him.
Sunderland.
Yeah, you're playing him, and he's in search of his wife, uh, that presumably died 3 years ago. But he gets a letter from her, and it's driven him to Silent Hill, and he's in search of her. And Silent Hill is an abandoned town. That something horrible has happened there, and it's populated by these strange creatures that look like mannequins with no arms, some with no arms and legs, some with all arms and legs, and like faceless nurses, and that progressively get more difficult to kill. And then you have boss
And
battles
Pyramid
and
Head.
stuff like
By the
that.
way,
And
Pyramid
yeah,
Head.
and a dude that's just constantly chasing you, right? So
He is
eh,
epic.
right. So you're trying to obviously find the wife and see where this goes, and you meet characters along the way, and they are weird. And but you keep running into them, and they lead to their own story, backstories, and stuff like that. And it is an incredible game. Just I would just get to the point. Uh, it's fabulous. Loved every second I played this. This game scared the crap out of me, dude. Like like Dead Space, it's an action game, right? You got stuff jumping out at you from vents and stuff like that. Those are jump scares. But if you're there and you're loaded for bear, it's not that scary because you can take him down, right? Um, Man of Medan, that's a psychological horror with spooky ghosts and creatures and all kinds of stuff like that. That's pretty creepy, right? But so it's scary on its own right. But Silent Hill 2 is creepy and scary. And at certain points it's like all you can do is run. Right? Like literally all you can do. And it's not necessarily scarce on bullets and stuff like that if you have a gun. But you start the game like with just a stick with some
With
nails in
like a
it.
plank, don't you?
Yeah, a plank.
Yeah.
Um, and your weapons, though you can kill stuff, it's like they're not super efficient at it. So what ends up happening is even though I could find tons of ammo and stuff as I'm playing through, I would go through a ton of it um, just to take one of these nurses down, right? It's like because they've got armor basically, uh, and they're super hard to kill. You aim for the head, and they got this jerky motion to them, and it's like it might take me 10 bullets to take one down if I didn't catch it by surprise. Um, but yeah, so the combat is you know makes it
It's
where you
it's
don't want to get into combat.
it's
Like,
not a combat
right, you don't
focused
want to get
game.
into combat. You want to avoid it as much as possible because you don't want to play through the game low on health because health is scarce, right? Being able to get your health to a good level, there's no, rest 20 minutes and your health slowly refills. No. Um, if you're wounded, you're not getting rid of that bleeding wound effect. And there is a bleeding wound effect that affects how you see the game. Like the screen starts to turn red. And when you're really, really seriously wounded, like the screen is like narrow where only this narrow portion is you can actually see clearly. It's like just imagine you had blood in your eyes. I guess that's what it's pop up trying to imitate. But yeah, it's like, and you got your heart is pumping super fast that you can hear, and it's like kind of like, oh man, I don't want to hear this the whole time I play, so I want to heal up. But it's um, super scary. The sound, like you would be in an apartment, like working your way through an apartment. So it's a multi-store building, and you could hear like doors opening above you, footsteps above you. There's screams happening off in the distance, voices, just everything. Like doing a great job with the sound in the environment and the fog that encompasses the town. It's so thick and it's like it's its own entity. So just the environmental design is great. I will say that the game probably there's a certain point at the end of the game where it's like, I wish this was maybe like an hour shorter or something. It's like it kind of extended it to stay a little bit too long in that point. Uh, but it's a fantastic game.
Actually, if there's one mechanic in this game, Tony, I haven't played the remake. Okay, just putting that out there. But I remember in Silent Hill 1, 2, and 3, there was the radio. I don't know if you still have it in this one, but anytime that you got near something that was going to attack you,
Hmm.
there's this radio that you had on your character, and it
Right.
starts like like buzzing, like
So,
you can hear the
right.
static.
So yeah, you can turn that off, but that is a thing. You find a
Don't turn it
radio,
off. It makes it better.
right? Yeah. Um, I didn't turn it off, but it
So
gives you a heads up that there's something around that's dangerous to you.
yeah, and the
But
closer it is, the more static that you can hear,
right,
man.
and I will say again, this is another example of why the PS5 is a superior console because your controller acts as that radio because it has the built-in speaker, and that staticky sound is coming from your controller. So used to great effect on on the PlayStation. Um, yeah, that it's great effect. Man, the narrative to this story is very interesting. I want to get into the details of it, but it's like I don't want to
That's a
spoil it.
whole different
Yeah, whole
episode, just
different
focused,
episode.
right?
We'll talk about that in a different episode, spoiler discussion episode. But great characters, uh, great acting, great voice acting. Um, what was there? There was something else I was about to bring up about this particular game. I can't remember now. It just left me,
Okay,
but if it comes
Tony,
back up.
did you ever figure out the whole symbology between why the bad guys look the way they do?
Not
Like,
not in this game. I did not.
Okay, so we'll talk about it later, but there's a reason why the bad guys are nurses, and it's not because he's in a hospital, but like the other creatures that you encounter, the faceless things, the bed monster, there's a reason that they look that way.
Mhm.
And when I read about this, I was like, oh, it makes perfect sense why they look this way. That's the choice of why the design of the characters were that way. Um, I don't know if this happens in in the remake, which it does in the very amazing PS2 version. Um, what was the name of the character that's in there? Not Laura, not Eddie. The other one that's like, um,
Rob.
no, not Rob. um,
So you had Angela.
that's her,
You had okay,
Angela.
Angela. Yeah.
Actually, look, Angela's in the manual right here.
Hmm.
Anyway, Angela. There's a scene in the original game where James is saying like everything here is on fire, and Angela says like, yeah, that's how I always see things, or like something that makes a nod that James's view of the
Hmm.
world is different than hers. And again, that's very significant
That
because everyone experiences Silent Hill in a different way.
so yeah, she does make that comment.
So based on basically your sins, the reason why you're in Silent Hill is the reason why you see the characters the way you do. We'll get into more of that next time.
Yeah, there's a lot of mystery going on. You find a lot of stuff, clues and notes, and some
Yep.
of it's just background information. I don't know if there's more you can find that lead to other things or whatever, but there's a lot of like the hospital. There's a lot of information about these three patients that were in the hospital, and I'm assuming I don't know if they're the characters you keep running into or they're totally separate or whatever. I don't know, but it's like you want to find out what happened to these people, particular people, and I don't know if I actually did or not, but would like to find out more. So I don't know,
Yeah. Well, there you go.
but
That's
yeah,
another option, great option to play around this season.
yeah. So uh, the I think the length of time to play this game was listed as like 10 hours. I'm like, I'm not quite sure where they're getting that number from. That's like 10 hours from somebody who's played the original Silent Hill 2, and then they're coming into this. But I don't think that number is correct. This game is probably more like a 20-hour game because it was over 20
Yeah.
hours for me to finish it.
No,
So
that sounds right because you're trying to discover everything for the first time.
yeah,
That sounds like my old playthrough.
yeah. So expect to be in over 20 hours and I thought I was doing pretty good too. I
And
went to
that's
like
if you
being
if
second
you're
run.
if you're just doing the first run, but this game, even in the original version, had multiple endings. So there's things that you can do in the game that'll actually get you different endings. So
Yeah, apparently
it
there are
is one of
multiple endings in this game too. So,
the.
but yeah, I would highly suggest Silent Hill 2. It's probably my game of the year so far. Uh, you know, I haven't played a lot of games this year, but this would be my choice. I know you would have to stack it up against No, is it Final Fantasy?
Final
Maybe
Fantasy
if you
VII
had a
Rebirth.
choice,
Mm-hmm.
but you have to play it. So, but I have the
Mm-hmm.
physical edition right here
Yeah.
without the manual,
Yeah. Me too.
but you can play it. All right.
Hey.
So, uh, highly recommend it. Any other games that we drove into? Call of Duty. Anybody played any Call of Duty?
Nope. I'm skipping it this year.
What about you, Vance?
I have.
It
That's why I didn't. That's why I didn't finish Dead Space. I've been the new season of 2K started, and then of course Call of Duty dropped. Um,
like today, right?
yesterday,
Yesterday.
yesterday. Yep, yep, yep. So
Yesterday.
I've been on there pretty heavy. Huh.
So we'll probably have an episode that gets more into it, but
Hmm.
your quick
Yeah.
insights into the game, Vance.
So,
What do you think?
Um,
Then I'll give you mine.
so far, I like it. It has that old Black Ops feel to it. You know, which what Treyarch brings. So I mean, like so far, I like
Mm-hmm.
it. I played like maybe one. Well, I'm not gonna say one round because I got to round 17 on the zombies. That's like it's cool. I like the old zombies better, but this one isn't bad.
Yeah.
Especially what doesn't make sense to me real quick is all right. So the older zombies was small maps, 4-man teams. The last zombies was a big map, 3-man teams. Now they brought back the 4-man teams on a smaller map. Like that just I didn't get that. Like why they dropped it down to the 3-man teams. But yeah, but zombies, of course there's already stuff out, Easter eggs and stuff like that. I haven't got into it, so I've been waiting on, the squad to get on to kind of experience it first with everybody.
Did you
So
play Terminus or did you play Liberty Falls?
Liberty Falls. I play Liberty Falls.
So you're playing Liberty Falls.
hmm
Okay. Uh, what'd you think about Liberty Falls as far as how it looked?
Uh, Liberty Falls looks good. It reminds me of what's that one game we played on the Xbox? Redfall. It gave me a
That can't be good, man. That's not a good thing.
it gave me like like that Redfall town feel. You know,
Yeah. Hmm.
yeah. So
Okay. So, yeah, I've played a couple hours of the new Black Ops 6. I will say that I really, really enjoyed the multiplayer. Um, it to me, it just pops like how it looks. It's like it's not shooting for that ultra realistic look like Modern Warfare does. It's definitely got that old Black Ops feel to it. I love. I just love the color saturation that's going on. Everything just pops. The character designs, the models look great. Uh, the maps. I've played a couple of different maps. I thought the maps were all pretty good. Um, and I really really enjoyed my time with the multiplayer. Um, so actually, I'm really looking forward to getting back in and playing the multiplayer. I spent a couple hours on the um, zombie mode, Liberty Falls by myself. I did not do squad fill because I just wanted to learn the map on my own. Uh, and I mean, yeah, it's zombies, old school. There's nothing really that like stands out about it. It's like nothing is like going, oh, this is fantastic. Other than, I mean, it looks great. I think the just the overall look and I just feel like their color and use of color in both the zombies and the multiplayer looks really really good. I thought that the Modern Warfare and stuff, it's more gray, very heavy on the grays and browns and stuff. This is more, I don't know, it's arcadey, but it just feels, it looks really really good. Go ahead.
um, I think I don't know about this, but we talked about how Modern Warfare from 2 to 3, all your weapons and skins and everything carried over. And I had made a prediction saying that this was not going to happen again because they want you buying and grinding and doing everything again. Was
Mhm.
that a prediction? Can you guys confirm it or not? Or
So one of the guys at work that plays this, we had this discussion. This is before we actually started playing the game, and he told me that the stuff did not carry over. That it was going to have to start all over again. I can't
that
confirm
makes
that yet.
I,
It would make sense to me,
it would make
uh,
sense because they want our money and our
right?
time.
And I will say this: like the one thing I did not like about, I mean, there's a lot of things I don't like about Modern Warfare, um, is the menu systems, the achievement systems, getting in there, digging around, and seeing what you've accomplished and stuff like that. Yeah, it was too hard and confusing. Didn't like it at all. I liked the systems that appeared in the older Black Ops games where it was more like you're turning a page, right? And you could see
But
all your calling
Cold War did it
cards,
right.
right? This goes back to that, right? To me, it's like, oh, this just makes more sense. This is cleaner, and it's just the all the calling cards just pop. Just fantastic. The art design and makes me want to go earn those things, right? That was something I did not have. I did not have that urge to do in Modern Warfare. I just hated their system. I didn't want to complete any challenges. It was just, I don't care about that. This was old school Black Ops to me, where it made me, oh, I want that calling card. I'm going to go do the things to earn it, right? So it's like, I'm, I'm playing it on Xbox, but I'm going to play a few more hours and make my decision. And if I can play through more of the maps and stuff and see how all the maps are, I'm definitely considering just buying this on PlayStation because it's hit all the right buttons for me as a Call of Duty player. The things that I liked, maybe not the zombies mode, but the multiplayer. I'm loving the multiplayer so far. What I've played.
Man, you know
Fellas,
what's
I will. You will see me playing Marvel Rivals come next month.
well, what's funny is, and I didn't even think about this, and I don't even. But Tony, you hit on something that's been a theme that I've been hearing in the lobbies. There's a lot of people that have it on Xbox for free, but they bought it on PlayStation. And the number one thing is because they don't want to compete with PC players. But like, cause there's no way for you to turn off like Xbox console, Xbox meaning like Game Pass PC, like all that's bunched in one group. So there's a lot of people. There's a few people that I ran into that have actually bought it on PlayStation, and they're just in the kind of like the PlayStation lobbies and stuff like that. And I was like, man, that's interesting. But another thing too, so like Jaime, you haven't seen it, but it's like once you like get some complete something, everything comes on one page. It has like your gun, your KD, your reward. So like it had the gun, it had like the skin that I unlocked for the headshots, and they brought that back. It's just straight 100 headshots for the camos. It ain't you got to slide and hit two, three people around the corner, jump up, hit them with the knife. You got to do none of that crazy stuff. It's just 100 headshots, Black Ops style. And I also got rewards for zombies that popped up, and I like that because you remember when back in Modern Warfare 3, a lot of stuff you got from zombies had to come through the battle pass. So now you can play multiplayer and still earn rewards in zombies as far as like tools, cryo freeze, and different things like that. So I was like, man, that's nice. And like I said, it's clean. It's all on one page. You can either go back, after you go back to the lobby and hit, I think R2, and it brings up the stats from the last match. But yeah, everything's clean. Everything's right there. It's bright. Definitely like that feel of it.
Yeah, so we'll see. A couple more hours of play. We'll see how it. What my decision will be on whether or not to get it on PlayStation or not. So anyway, anything else?
I don't think that's it.
That's it.
Awesome. All right. Well, thanks for joining us again for this episode of Good to Game Radio and our big Halloween episode. Uh, and I thought it was great. It was pretty fun too. Jaime made it out alive with one arm.
Barely, man. Barely.
Yes.
All right. So I think this is streamed on TikTok. Vance hooked us up with that. You check
And
us
on Twitch.
on Twitch. Check
Yeah.
those out if you want to see the video of us. I don't know. But uh, jump in the conversation in Discord, talk about the episode, talk about your playthrough of Man of Medan, and give that game a shot. Like I said, it's 3.5 hours, quick play, and see how well you are managing the lives of your this of those 5 characters. And all right, so thanks again for joining us. We'll catch you on the next episode.
See you
Later.
guys.
Later.